Welcome to the NarcDojo Podcast, where each episode is a treasure trove of insights, tools, and stories to help you break free from the shackles of narcissistic abuse and step into a life of strength and joy. If you've ever felt the weight of narcissistic abuse, know that you are not alone in this journey. Navigating the aftermath of narcissistic abuse can be isolating, but it is essential to remember that you are not alone. So if you need someone to talk to, go ahead and book a coaching session. All of the links for these are in the description section or in my bio. Healing from narcissistic abuse is absolutely possible. However, you need the accurate information and then you need to take action on this information. Additionally, if you haven't already, consider taking the NARC 101 course. That is the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Course, NARC 101. This is a free 3-hour course where I take you from A to Z on how to heal from narcissistic abuse. So I have videos covering how to understand your emotional awareness, remembering who you are, understanding narcissistic abuse and the manipulation tactics. We also get into understanding dysfunctional family dynamics. So we'll talk about being the scapegoat and also being the lost child, and how to eventually heal from people pleasing or codependence and to build firm boundaries to repel these individuals and to protect yourself and to attract wholesome people and experiences into your life. So go ahead and take the NARC 101 course. Again, all the links for these are on the page. Additionally, I'm working on the NARC 102 coaching program, which I'm going to launch pretty soon. And this is going to be a group coaching program where we will meet weekly or bi-weekly. This will also come with a course, and you can leverage healing in a community or a group setting. So again, understand that you are not alone on your healing journey. There are millions of people just like you that are also working to overcome and to transcend narcissistic abuse. So in today's episode, we're going to be delving into how to overcome the trauma bond. So understand that you most likely got entangled with a pathological narcissist because you were groomed through your dysfunctional family system. So if you're listening to this audio or watching these videos, then you most likely were assigned the scapegoat role and or the lost child role in your dysfunctional family system. So what happens is, as empathetic people, oftentimes we are internalizers. So we will take on other people's pain. And in our internalizing, then most times we end up the enabler. So understand that as children mirror their parents. And for empathetic people, again, being internalizers, we internalize the identity, the scapegoat identity of believing that in part that we are unworthy. And this is the people-pleasing, codependent, or enabler identity. When it comes to the golden children, for example, you'll see where most of them kind of end up egomaniacs. So they end up narcissistic. So they go the opposite role. So again, all of this is dysfunctional. And the narcissists go their role, or the golden children go their way and externalize. And you'll see this as them being an egomaniac. But again, as an internalizer, oftentimes we internalize the scapegoat identity and end up enablers. So it is this role that we have to shed. And in shedding this role, the first step is to be aware. So as the scapegoat, this means that you were the family's sacrifice. Your parental figures most likely dumped their trauma onto you. So they dumped their shame onto you. where it is possible that you could do nothing right. This means then that you have a core wound of emotional neglect because you weren't receiving enough nurturing. So what happens is, if you do not heal this wound, this emotional wound, which is very similar to physical wounds, and you can kind of think about this like a wounded animal in the sea, and there are sharks around, then the sharks are smelling the blood, right? So similarly with emotional wounds, the emotional wounds of emotional neglect from childhood, we bring this into our adult years. Because again, if you're healing from codependence, this means that in part you were unaware of this deep wounding. So this deep wounding attracts narcissistic individuals. It attracts takers because as people pleasers, we are over givers. Because again, we did not learn adequate boundaries in our dysfunctional family system. Because again, you would not be able to learn boundaries because you were the scapegoat. By default, you really could not have boundaries. The dysfunctional parental figures needed someone to dump their shame onto. So if you are the scapegoat and or the lost child, just understand that this is the role that you need to shed. And you need to know how to step into your light and know that you are deserving of love and that you are deserving of kindness. And while you were placed into the role of a scapegoat or a lost child, you yourself are not a scapegoat or a lost child. So if you feel like you are attracting narcissists, know that one of the core wounds that you need to heal is the childhood wound of emotional neglect. So again, know that you are worthy of love and respect. And now on this healing path, it is important that you surround yourself with those who appreciate and uplift you. So what happens is, when you grow up in a dysfunctional family system, you only know what you know. And what you know a lot about is neglect and or abuse. So it is completely possible that you were not physically abused or sexually abused, but you were emotionally neglected. Because if you grew up in a narcissistic dysfunctional family system, then this means that you had emotionally immature parents. Emotionally immature parents create roles like scapegoat, lost child, golden child, mascot, etc. And what is happening in these dysfunctional family systems is that the children are there to meet the parents' needs instead of the other way around. Again, this is dysfunctional by default. So understand that all children in these dysfunctional family systems are being neglected or abused. It is just in different ways. So the golden child is being neglected or abused. They are being spoiled. Spoiling is a type of child neglect. And you'll see where spoiled children normally end up rotten. So spoiling is not a good thing. Children need to learn boundaries. Right? The scapegoat role is also abuse or neglect. So is the lost child role. However, know this about the scapegoat or the lost child role. Because of your vantage point, and because you are most likely a truth teller and a truth seeker, and because of this vantage point at the edge of the dysfunctional family system, know that you most likely have the most awareness. And what I mean by this is you are able to see the forest for the trees. So you can break away from this dysfunctional family system and break out of it because you can see the dysfunction. Oftentimes you will see where golden children really just get swallowed up by the narcissist black hole. So when you take a look at the narcissist solar system, you'll see the narcissistic parent in the middle because again, everybody has to revolve around the narcissistic parent. And right next to them is the golden child. So golden children normally end up egomaniacs or narcissistic because they end up being sucked into the black hole. Because again, When it comes to narcissists are stars. They are black holes, and a black hole is a collapsed star. So because of the vantage point of the golden child, they can't really see the forest. They're too close to the narcissistic parent. And a lot of you have the golden children sibling, and you see where, again, a lot of them end up spoiled. Right? So they end up rotten, they end up entitled, they end up egomaniacs. Some of them end up to be narcissists, some of them are sociopaths. Others are on drugs, etc. because they do not know how to cope with life, because they weren't taught how to cope with life. However, understand that as the scapegoat or the lost child, because again, you have the vantage point of seeing the dysfunction, then you have the ability to stop the dysfunction. And this is why the scapegoat is most likely going to be the cycle breaker, the generational cycle breaker, the generational curse breaker, because again, you have the vantage point. You have the ability to see the toxic dynamics. You are seeing the dysfunction, so you can stop and walk away and create your own healthy family system. You can find healthy friends, right? You can create healthy, intimate partnerships, and so on. So it is important to understand that the role that you were assigned really was assigned because you had emotionally immature parents. And these emotionally immature parents could not adequately meet their own emotional needs, so they were also unable to meet your needs as a child. However, while it may not be your fault that you had emotionally immature parents, it is your responsibility now as an adult to make the change. So when it comes to breaking the trauma bond, breaking the cycle, a huge part of this includes not blaming yourself. So it includes letting go of shame, right? Shame, again, is that emotion that is linked to our self-esteem. Shame is directed at the self. And you most likely, again, pay attention to this message here, you most likely inherited a lot of shame through your dysfunctional family system. And this is what we call inherited shame. The shame is actually not yours. It was passed down from your dysfunctional caregivers. So when you truly understand that that shame is not yours, you learn how to let it go, because you are worthy of love and respect. You were always worthy of love and respect, and you may not have felt this again because you most likely grew up around emotionally immature individuals, but understand that you were always worthy of love and respect. So while you may had emotional caregivers that did not have the capacity to love you at the level that you want, know that you can love yourself at that capacity. And also there are people out there that do have love to give. So the reason why most of us got caught up in these narcissistic entanglements is because we were groomed through our dysfunctional family system to accept inappropriate behavior, to tolerate boundary breaking behavior. So now as an adult, it is up to us to recognize these signs and stop the dysfunction, to break the generational cycle. And breaking these generational cycles is a lot of work because we are in uncharted territory. So I want you to work on forgiving yourself and understand that forgiveness essentially really is just letting go of negative emotions. It is letting go of the shame that you inherited from your family system. So it's letting go of that unworthiness. So it is acknowledging that you are worthy of love, right? You are worthy of whatever it is that you're working on, whatever the goal is. So it could be that you have been healing for a while and now you want to get back out there into the dating world. You are worthy of finding someone that loves and respects you at the level that you deserve. Again, you deserve it. And you've always deserved it. So, being in the scapegoat role, a part of this was that we had to tolerate inappropriate behavior when we were younger. But again, as adults, nobody that is toxic, abusive, or narcissistic should have any space in your life. It is important now that you find people of the fourth dimension or higher. So it is important that you surround yourself with those who appreciate and uplift you, not those who depreciate and bring you down. Again, you have to find people that are at your level. So while you may have been born into a family system that was stuck in the third dimension, you yourself are not of the third dimension. So remember that healing is a journey. It is not a destination. So be patient with yourself because you are doing amazing things. You are healing. You are watching these videos on the NarcDojo channel and the other narcissistic abuse recovery channels. A lot of you are booking coaching sessions. A lot of you are in therapy. So be patient with yourself. You are doing amazing things. Your resilience is inspiring. And oftentimes you may not be aware of that because you're looking more so on where you need to go, opposed to where you've got to thus far. So understand that it is a major step to break the cycle. You are breaking the cycle, and that is why it is so difficult, because you're in uncharted territories. If you look back in your family system, so if you go to the parental level, grandparent level, and just go back in your family tree, you will probably see the repeated cycle of the narcissist enabler dynamic. And you are most likely the one person now that is breaking this cycle. That is resilience. And that is awareness. And awareness is the first step in breaking this dynamic. So know that breaking the trauma bond when it comes to intimate relationships takes time. And the first step is being aware of the toxic dynamics. So know how to identify narcissistic individuals. And again, there are 4 main characteristics that you can look out for. So number 1 is that these people are grandiose. They're egomaniacs. They're egotistical. They believe that they are superior and grandiose. Right? They believe that they are better than others without merit. Number 2 is they require excessive amounts of attention, admiration, and validation. So they need you to boost their ego. Thirdly, they are empathy impaired, which means that they are unable to put themselves in other people's shoes. So they do not have empathy to give. They have apathy to give. They're very cold individuals. And fourth, they are pathological liars, which means that they are addicted to lying. So they will lie to you on day 0. The second that you meet them, they will most likely be lying. So know how to identify the traits. Know the manipulation tactics. They're going to want to weaponize your empathy. They want you to feel sorry for them. They want you to pity them so that you drop your guard, so that they can come in later and abuse you. Understand the narcissistic abuse cycle. It's the same cycle over and over and over again, because narcissists really are insane. Insanity, like Einstein stated, is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And that is what pathological narcissists are doing. They're idealizing or love bombing, devaluing, discarding, hoover. Idealizing, devaluing, discarding, hoover. It is a pathology. It is a patterned behavior. It is patterned dysfunctional behavior. And this is why you're able to identify the signs if you know what to look for. So know the abuse cycle. Know the different manipulation tactics. They're going to weaponize your empathy. They're going to come in like a little wounded dog so that you drop your guard. But that little wounded dog is going to turn around and bite you, because that is what they do. It is a pathology. They'll want to triangulate you. They'll want to give you the silent treatment. They'll want to punish you because, again, they're based in shame and they're unable to move past their pride. So they have to be in a victim abuser dynamic. They are addicted to this because narcissists really are addicts. First of all of them are people addicts, every single one of them. And they may be addicted to other substances. So they may be also alcohol addicts. They may be drug addicts, meth, opioids, etc. Maybe they're into pills. They may be porn addicts. They may be hoarders. Because again, at their core, they are people addicts. So where you see one addiction, you most likely will see others. So other addictions may come in. But again, every single one of them is a people addict. They are energy vampires. They rely on other people's energy. They always need narcissistic supply. So know the manipulation tactics. Know how to identify a healthy person, and you will better be able to identify healthy people because you yourself are working on healing. And the more you heal, the more pathological narcissists will repel you. They will make you nauseous. You will find them repulsive because you know that you really are dealing with someone with a sick spirit. So understand that the trauma bond lessens with time, and these bonds are lessening at the physical level. They are lessening at the mind level. So the rumination will lessen over time. All right. They will also lessen at the emotional level. Those emotional ties will lessen as you heal. And over time, you will see where no contact is just the standard because you won't want toxic people in your life. It just won't make sense. You just know that toxic people come with drama because they're based in shame and they can't move past their pride. And anybody that is filled with negative emotions on the inside, you will eventually see these negative emotions on the outside. So as you raise your awareness, you will raise your standards. And you will know that you have no business in the third dimension. Because the third dimension is a place for victims and abusers. It is victim-abuser consciousness. That is all you will find if someone is stuck in the third dimension. So I'm not saying that you should never feel shame or you should never feel anger or you should never feel pride. I'm talking about being stuck in the third dimension. And this is why you'll often hear me state that you should get the courage to walk away and stay away from toxic people because peace is on the other side of abuse. Abuse is negative, so it is at the bottom of the Hawking scale. And peace is positive, so it is at the top region of the Hawking scale. There is no peace in abuse. There is no peace in the third dimension. Only victims and abusers. Only neglect, chaos, drama, disorders, diseases, etc. That's all that exists in the third dimension. Again, if you get stuck in the third dimension, getting stuck at that low vibration energy, and you'll see where it feels like you're losing yourself because you are. Your life force energy is being trained. So it is important that you maintain your frame as you ascend, and you ascend by getting the courage to walk away. But it is by getting the courage to love yourself. It is by getting the courage to raise your standards. It is by getting the courage to not tolerate inappropriate behavior. So understand that the past is not your destination because the future holds brighter days filled with growth, with joy, and with peace. And you only will get that if you get the courage to walk away and stay away. So in closing, understand that I am proud of each and every one of you that has gotten the courage to walk away and stay away. Because when you do this, you know that now you also have the ability to help others. Because there are people that are a little bit wounded and they just need a little bit of push. to make it across the finish line. And now that you also are across the finish line, you can help others. You can help others to heal because you have healed yourself. So you can also share that with other people. So remain vigilant, remain strong, and remain compassionate. However, understand that now with your newfound awareness, you will know that you have to have boundaries with your compassion and have boundaries with your love, because your love creates stalkers. Because again, these stalkers need your energy. Pathological narcissists are parasites. And every day, a mosquito wakes up, and the mosquito knows that it needs to find a host. So do not let these toxic individuals attach to you. Ensure that you're walking with your bug spray. And your bug spray is your boundaries and your awareness, kind people. So that is where we are stopping off here in today's video. So remember to pour all of that love and kindness and compassion back into yourself. If you're pouring into a pathological narcissist, you're pouring into a black hole. They cannot receive your love because all of your love and kindness and compassion is going to evaporate right there at the third dimension. Go ahead and give this love, kindness, and compassion to others that are in your dimension. We're talking about the fourth dimension or higher, because these individuals can reciprocate your love. And you can both recharge each other's energy. If you pour into a narcissist, they're just going to drain your energy. So that is where we're stopping off here in today's video, kind people. Thank you so much for your continued support. Ensure that you're liking these videos. Ensure that you are subscribed for more empowering content. If you have any questions or feedback, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next episode.